Weird News Weekly with Ben and Reed.
Reed, we are talking about Nintendo because, of course, Nintendo are in the news at the moment because they're launching a brand new iPhone game with the launch of the iPhone 7. A lot of people have already clicked that little notify button in their app store, making sure they're notified. Yes, me too. When the brand new Mario game pops up on there. I don't think it's too far away though, actually. Is it till like the end of this month or something when...
I actually read a report that it was going to be released in December.
Oh, okay.
So I've read reports that it is in December, so It may be earlier, but they're saying at least December at this stage.
Well, of course, Nintendo are very famous for all the gaming consoles they've released over the years. Most recently, or not too recently, but the latest one, of course, is the Wii U. There is apparently a new Nintendo in the works that is due out, I think, later on this year or towards the start of next year. And word on the street is that they'll be launching that Nintendo when they launch the brand new Zelda game, and it'll be like a in conjunction type thing. But there is also some products that they made before they actually made gaming systems as well. They were known for making toys and novelties over in Japan.
Who knew?
Yeah.
Wow.
So apparently back in the 60s, they were making toys and novelties for their Japanese audience. One of those, Reed, was a love tester.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. It says the product worked by getting a couple to hold hands whilst also holding onto a metal cup that you received in the love tester box. And using a scale of 0 to 100, the tester would indicate the strength of love the couple had for each other.
That's brilliant.
So it comes with a list of instructions there in the box. I'm looking at the pictures right here, which we'll post for you soon at the Twitter and the Tumblr pages. But basically, it's just a cartoon picture of a couple holding hands on one side, kind of looking at each other lovingly, and then they've got their hands on this on like one of the cups each on the other side that connect to this love tester. And I'm guessing it gives them a reading on the little meter there, telling them how strong their love is. So I wonder if I'm guessing there'd be some of these still around somewhere that people would just be like, hey, it's the Nintendo Love Tester, guys. Let's give it a try.
Not to mention be worth an absolute fortune if you sell it on eBay.
Now, this next one is really, really strange, and it's going to sound ridiculously mental when I describe what this thing actually does. It's called the Light Telephone.
Right.
Now, straight away, when you say light telephone, it sounds weird, because obviously it's not a light telephone as in the weight of the telephone. No, it's a light telephone as in shining a light in your face, telephone talking on the phone.
Oh, wow.
So,
that's bizarre.
Let's read the description of this one here. The sound picked up by the microphone of the light telephone is coded into a transmitted light, decoded again by the receiving party's light telephone using a solar cell, and played over the headphones.
Oh, wow.
So basically, you have this kind of video camera, torch, gun looking thing that's got this little telescope on the side of it, and someone else has one of those as well. You stand 100 meters away from each other with some headphones on that are plugged into the back of this gun thing that you got. You shine these lights at each other, and apparently the light transmits your conversation so you can hear what people are saying through the light itself.
Oh, it's like another version of like the walkie-talkie.
Yeah, so it sounds like a really kind of cool invention, but when you look at the picture here, it just looks really kind of old school, wacky, some guy made it in his basement hoping it might work kind of thing. One of their main toys that they had back in 1966 was something called the Ultra Hand, and you would have seen things like this around these days as well. It was basically one of those extender hand things that was like the zigzag cross pattern metal frame, and you push in the lever at the end and it stretches out and then it grabs something for you.
Yeah.
The weird thing is about these ones though, the price tag on these. Over in Japan, if you transfer the currency to Australian dollars, back in 1966, these cost $120 Australian.
Whoa.
And now you can get plastic. You can get plastic versions of these from like the $2 shop these days.
Massive markup. Brilliant.
Now, apparently, we actually made a rip-off version here in Australia when that one was released back in 1966 over in Hong Kong. And ours was made by Hong Kong Hand Arts, and it was still called the Ultra Hand, but it cost nowhere near as much.
I love the names of all these.
Yeah. Another weird one is the Hip Flip.
Okay.
Now, straight off the bat, you're
Possibly
just like, okay, what the heck does a hip flip do? Well, it's basically a bar, right? And it's, you prop it up between you and another person in between your waists. So you've got it suspended on your waist and then you're pushing it against the other person's waist. So you're holding this bar between the two of you. That bar then has a hanging, rotating bell on it. And the two of you have to move your bodies in a way to rotate that bell and make it ring.
Oh my goodness.
So let's read the proper description for this one here. The couple presses the hip flip between each other and then move their bodies to make the bell spin around without the use of their hands, flipping their hips, so to speak, and make the bell ring. So basically what I said, but just in a more simplified term. They also made, though, this is the last one on the list here, in 1970, they released a candy machine that made fairy floss.
Ooh.
Yeah, so it was an at-home fairy floss maker, and you could just have it there. It was released by Nintendo. You're like, hey guys, come over and have some Nintendo fairy floss.
Stuff going to the show, make your own at home. I like it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I like it.
It kind of makes you wonder, though, like, these would have to only be the tip of the iceberg as far as products that Nintendo released back in the day. These would just be the antithesis of the weird ones. So,
oh, yeah.
What do you think that they would have made other than this? Like, would it just be random little toys and all that kind of stuff, or what?
Possibly. That one you mentioned about the bell and they've got to have two people with the bar against them. Sounds like a weird sort of dating ritual, doesn't it?
See how well your partner can rotate their hips in time with you.
Oh, yes. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh,
I can imagine it.
Yeah. I just love the box artwork on all of these products that they've got here, because as I said, we'll post the article for you up at the Twitter and Tumblr accounts, and you can see all the box art that came along with these actual products. And some of it's absolutely amazing. Some of them are just pictures of, like, especially the Ultra Hand. It's a Japanese family going, hey, look, I'm passing you an orange from the other side of the room.
Oh man, I can imagine the artwork right now.
And there's like a really kind of in-depth description of how this whole light telephone works as well, like as far as the illustrations are concerned, and like people, like adjusting dials and all that kind of stuff. It's very high-tech, it seems, but the headphones that you would have got with this back in the day, they're very old school and very tinny looking. So we've come a very long way since those headphones, I'm sure.
Yes, thank goodness we've got things like PlayStation now. And
yes.
Do you remember that other invention they made a few years ago, the Nintendo GameCube?
Yes. That was actually very popular on like a cult level. So it wasn't it wasn't their biggest success of a gaming console, but it was actually quite successful for the people who are really into Nintendo stuff. A lot of people really rave about the games that they actually played on that one.
Well, a good friend of mine had one, and like a lot of us had, growing up, we had the PlayStations and all that sort of stuff, and he was the only one who had a GameCube. Yeah. We used to make fun of him all the time, but then he would show us a game that he had, GoldenEye.
Yeah.
GoldenEye on GameCube. I thought, okay, now I can see why you've got it. Very good. And I thought, brilliant.
But even now, like, I have a Wii U. It's the only gaming console that I have right now, apart from my old Nintendos that are packed up in boxes in the cupboard. But everyone who's come over, they're just kind of like, oh, you've got a Wii U. Why did you get a Wii U? And I'm just like, because I didn't really, see the appeal of the games that were on the PlayStation or the Xbox or anything like that. I like the, old school side scrollers that have made to look new, and I like the other ones that they're kind of releasing on the platform. And then people start playing Mario Kart and they're just like, I've so got to get one of these.
You're not a sheep, Ben. You're a bit different than everyone else.
I swear Mario Kart 8 is the most addictive game ever, though. Like, I got that game, like, it came with the console, and that was one of the main selling points of me actually getting that whole console bundle, because I was just like, hey, it comes with Mario Kart pre-installed, so I'm good to go. Don't need any more games for like a couple of months at this stage. No. And my goodness, have I played that thing into the ground.
Oh, many hours of blood, sweat, and tears has gone into that game.
Now, putting it in perspective, though, because like when you play Mario Kart 8 and you play against the rest of the world in an online tournament kind of atmosphere, you gain certain amounts of points for where you come in, like placing-wise, at the end of a race. So if you come first, you'll get something like 20-something points. The lower down you go, if you come 12th, you get like minus 10 points or something like that. People have gotten themselves up to crazy amounts of numbers, and when you come up against those people, you're just like, I have no chance of winning this race right now. But there's actually started to be a split of those people where sometimes they've just played the game so much and they'll get their points up to a certain amount. Like some people have over 46,000 points, for example. I saw on there the other day. And the guy who had 46,000 points actually wasn't all that good. He just plays it so much that he's earned that many points. So it wasn't because he'd won all these races and got like 20-point increments of his points going up. He's just played it like crazy and been getting like 5 points here, 4 points there, 10 points here, and just adding them up slowly and slowly. At the moment, I'm around 8,500 mark, so I'm not like super great. But at the same time, you start off, when you first buy the game, you start off with 1,000 points flat. And at the moment, I'm going up against people who are around anywhere from the 3,000 to 10,000 point mark. So I'm at the upper end of what you usually see in the game these days from all the people that have, kind of stopped playing now because they've moved on to like Super Smash Brothers and all that kind of stuff. So yeah.
So they're not just nerds living in mum's basement, just playing the game 24/7. They're actually
I'm very
functioning
sure
human beings.
I'm very sure that there are some of those that are just the nerds in their mum's basement, just playing Mario Kart over and over and over and over and over again.
Like our friend we've made up from America who lives on pizza and lives in his mother's basement. Hey, Ma! Give us some pizza. I want to play Mario Kart.
But it kind of makes you wonder, though, because, like, not to do any racial stereotyping here, but most of the really, really good players with the high numbers on Mario Kart are all Japanese guys and girls.
Wow.
Because obviously it's a Japanese format, being a Nintendo. It's where it actually originates from. So they all love Nintendo stuff over there. So anytime something Nintendo comes out, they embrace it like crazy and try and do the best that they possibly can. But you kind of have to think to yourself, okay, how long have they been playing this game to get some of the points that they've actually got? I've seen one person, only one, in the whole time that I've been playing this game. I've only ever seen one person with this amount of points, but it was like crazy. It almost made me fall off my chair. There was a guy on there with over 300,000 points from Japan. And I was just like, dude, you must not have any other thing to do in your life apart from play this 24/7.
Is someone paying you to play this game? Or are you just bored of shitless? Come on.
Either that or he's hacked the system somehow and he's just like, points, just raise them up.
I sort of hope he hasn't, though. I mean, imagine if he actually has played the game for that amount of time to get those points. Oh, I'd love that. I love it. Brilliant.
If you want to read more, though, about these objects and stuff that Nintendo were releasing before they started into their gaming systems, we'll post this article for you up at the Twitter and Tumblr accounts. Weird News Weekly on Twitter, weirdnewsweekly.tumblr.com. Get more info right there and leave us a voicemail telling us your thoughts on the story.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to rate and review the show on iTunes and follow on Twitter and Tumblr for more details on the covered stories. Just search Weird News Weekly. You can also be part of the show and give us your opinions on a story by sending a voicemail via the SpeakPipe app, or just click the voicemail link on the Tumblr page. Spoken by Sarah D and sped up like this because we like the way it sounds on the government ads.
I realise that I'm doing this a lot today. Already I'm just kind of like, yes, and the dove.